Hey there, happy Tuesday. Tonight we are continuing our stitch along of the Sloth. It is the embroidery pattern of the month here, embroidery of the month. So thank you for joining me here. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make cute embroidery kits for the beginning crafter. And I am here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. That's 9:30 Eastern and 6:30 Pacific. It's a time that we can relax and craft together. I'm here for about an hour and I work on projects from beginning to end so you can be part of the whole process along the way. Last night we started this month's embroidery of the month, which is a little sloth. Here we have sketched out the design. We've traced the design from the traceable pattern here, and we just used pencil, just normal little click, one of these little big click pencils. And we got all of the black done. So we got his little face, some fur, the claws. We learned how to do a French knot last night. And the 3 things you might be doing wrong if you're not getting your French knots just perfect. And we also did the little satin stitch nose and some backstitch. Tonight, I hope we can get the entire body done, and that is mostly like a pretty tan color. So I'll share that with you guys. I have it up on the iPad here so we can look at the colors. The pattern is still available till the end of the month, so it is a digital download pattern up on penguinandfish.com under the embroidery of the month, and I have a link to it below. And these videos will be going up online so you can stitch with us for the rest of the week and stitch later. You'll see there's also a second embroidery of the month. We kind of had a bonus embroidery of the month this month, and that is the tiger embroidery. I watched all of Tiger King, so did a little tiger embroidery. So that's this guy here. We still have some bundles available for those as well. There's some fun things in those bundles, so check that out. And I'm hoping we can maybe stitch a bit of that this week as well. So that'll be kind of fun. So, all right, you guys, I'm gonna flip you around. Let's see how much we can get done on this guy tonight. All right, so here on the iPad, I have, here's the sloth pattern. So this is what you get if you download the pattern. And this is the little guy we're making. So we did all the black. And now I think let's just crank out all of this tan. That'll be really fun, I think, getting all that done. It'll feel like we've accomplished a lot, I think, getting the whole body done. So I'm going to just move ahead to, here we go. So here, I mean, this page has the stitches we're using and how to do them, but it also has our guide. And that's kind of what I have up here while we work on it. So the guide has like what stitches to use where, and the colors. So I'm just going to zoom in. We are going to work on all of the brown, which is basically everything sloth related that we haven't stitched yet. But it is kind of nice having this up to look at. I like having the pattern by me. So we'll do that. Oh, nice, Amy. I'm glad you caught up. So I'm still working on getting it on YouTube again, but it is here on Facebook, so you can watch last night's here. And we got all of his little faces and claws done. So the reason I started with the face was because I want the brown that we're going to put on now to kind of go on top of these points that meet, the outside outline, because I want my outline to feel like it's covering up some of these points and right here. So I thought, might as well just do the black first. All right, I'm going to grab my tan. So I've been using the 3 strands of embroidery floss. One of these days, we're going to stitch with all different number of skeins of embroidery floss. I think that would be fun. We've been doing the 3. Most of my embroideries that I do use 3. And that just controls the thickness of the stitch. So if you use like 2 strands of floss, your stitch will be thinner. If you use all 6, your stitches will be a lot thicker. All right, so I'm going to just take the 3 out. So I'm just separating 1 strand at a time. and holding the rest of the strands and then just yanking it out. And it looks like it bunches up like crazy, but you just run your hand through it and it's all good to go again. This does seem like to be the fastest way to separate strands versus holding both sides and pulling slowly. I think this is a little bit faster. And in theory, the stitches lay a bit flatter too, if you're getting super technical with it. Oh, it's fast. I think it doesn't tangle at all, really, doing it that way. And it really is fast. I mean, I'm kind of slowing it down a little bit as I do it here, but I can just go zoop and zoop, zoop. Always need the sound effect. The sound effect comes with the pulling of the strands. All right. Oh, and just, this is how I thread a needle too. I do the pinch method. So I have the strands here. Sometimes I will cut a nice clean edge. That's, very helpful actually. So there we go. Now I got a nice clean edge to that. And I will just pinch. So my fingers are closed. And then as I unpinch, sorry, my fingers are really dry. As I unpinch, the moment I see my little threads there, I will stick the eye of the needle over it and kind of push down a little and then just keep unpinching and it'll kind of push the needle through. Oops. Of course, it's attached to my dry fingers, but there we go. I'm going to grab it with the other hand. There we are. Okay, where should we start? I think, why don't we go around his head and then come back up this way? Let's do that. So I'm going to weave in my ends to this little black area here, and then I'll start kind of at the neck there. Oh, Bonnie, your strands don't go zoop when you take them apart. You gotta listen real closely. I bet you you'll hear them next time. Gotta put it real close to your ear when you do it. All right. So I'm weaving back and forth 3 times. That kind of tightens it. And then it's nice and tight there. Oh, Amy, thanks for asking. As far as I know, she's fine. So Amy's asking, how is John's aunt doing? So John's aunt, John, my husband, his aunt lives in town here, and she is a nurse at the hospital by us. And that is who we donated all of our masks to. She took them and just handed them out to the other nurses, so she didn't have to go through all the admin stuff. So, I mean, she's sticking in there. I think she's healthy and fine, but it sounds pretty stressful. So she doesn't work directly with the COVID patients, although there are COVID patients at the hospital. She works with the babies and new moms, so, they have to be extra careful that they're not infected and all that, as nurses going in with all those babies, and that they're not infected too. So, I don't know, it's just stressful overall. All of their PPE is going to the COVID area of the hospital, so they don't get any, is what it sounds like, or very, very limited. But yeah, it sounds stressful, and, I don't think she can really be around family, and so, it's just no fun whatsoever. But yeah, so hopefully we can all be out and about together sometime soon again, and this will all be behind us. Not sure if that's really going to happen, but something will get figured out at some point. But yep, I think she's still healthy and everything. I bet you she could use a break, though. Just nurses in general just are working all the time, it sounds like. Just those long shifts. It's just sounds like a crazy crazy schedule, crazy way to work, without even scary times. I like this tan. It's just a pretty kind of tan color, and I'm just going around doing a backstitch still. You could do the entire outline and then come back and do the little hairs, but I think I'm going to do like a sweeping way of doing it. So I'm going to stitch, to here, get some of these little hairs, then come back up, and then get the hairs and everything as I go. Do a few stitches, come back around, get some hairs. I'm just going to kind of go try and get it all at once. It's an embroidery needle. I understand what you're asking. I think, what is it? One is sharp and one is not sharp. I can't remember. A tapestry versus a crewel needle. We got these kind of specially made. They're like cross stitch needles almost, like with the large eye. So I think that's like a crewel needle. But we had them sharpened a bit so they'd be more for embroidery and less for cross stitch. Because cross stitch, you need a blunted needle, or ideally you'd have a blunted needle, which means it's just not very sharp. Because crewel is the sharp one. Okay, so it is more of like a crewel needle, but it's still thin and smaller like an embroidery needle. But yeah, a cross stitch needle, you want it blunt because you're usually using that cloth, that Aida cloth that has kind of the holes built in, and you don't want to pierce the fabric anywhere but the holes. So they make the needles blunt so you don't pierce the fabric. But embroidery, you want the opposite. You do want to pierce through the fabric. So embroidery needles are sharp, whereas cross-stitch needles are typically blunt. And so we kind of started out with cross-stitch needles here and then got them sharpened a bit. Just enough. Because I like the really big eye. That's what we're going for. A nice big eye, so it's easy to stitch or easy to thread. Easier, let's call it, to thread the needle. Yeah, I think tapestry and crewel needles are a bit larger, typically, I think. But they do have that big eye, which is the best part. All right, so here I'm going to grab a couple of these little armpit hairs here, I suppose. Yeah, I always get those two confused, which one's sharp and which one's blunt, the tapestry and the crewel needle. I don't use either of those very often, so I can't never remember. All right, now I'm going to jump back up by his hand. Oh, you like that I separate the thread? Yeah, so you could use, well, let's just take a look at that for a sec. I have my little floss guide here. I know I've shown this before, but this is my floss thickness guide that we made up, I don't know, a year ago or something, or maybe just a few months ago. But here are the different strands. So my 1 through 6 here is 1 strand of floss to 6 strands of floss. So you can see the difference. I mean, here's a real clear image of the difference. The floss is stitched with 6 strands and thickness guide is just with 1 strand. Now look at the difference. I mean, first of all, obviously the word floss with the 6 strands is thicker, like fatter stitches, but it also just feels just raised more off the surface. You can see more shadow, more light, whereas this is just really little delicate, the 1 strand. So you could really get a variety of stuff going on here if you really wanted. I mean, imagine like a big fat flower with some wispy little grasses or wispy little like ferny fronds or something. Like you can really get a fun texture going with different numbers of strands. And I have not done too often, but there's a lot of potential there. So it'd be fun to go into a project with that in mind. Then I just have a Pearl 5. This is Pearl 5 cotton floss, size 5. So it's pretty similar to 6 strands of floss. Then I have 12 weight thread. This is 1 strand of 12 weight, just plain sewing thread. That's 12 weight. And this is 12 weight with 2 strands. So this is we figure about like 4 strands of embroidery floss. And then I just have some yarn stuck in there too. But yeah, so you really can get a different look. I've been just doing 3. 3 is kind of my go-to. I think it's easy. When you get up to 6, it can be hard to pull the thread through the fabric sometimes. So I just kind of hover around 3. I know in the Splendid Sampler, a lot of times they're using 2 strands. So I think 2 strands is pretty common. But yep, we're using the 3. But I do like having that near that floss thickness guide. It's kind of a fun little project to stitch up. If you want that reference, it'd be fun to see it with different. I only have done it with the backstitch because I use the backstitch all the time. That's what we're doing right now. It's just a cute, nice outlining stitch. But it would be fun to do that with different stitches. Like, what are the different? What does it look like if I do a chain stitch with those different colors? Or different sizes. I think that'd be really fun to try sometime. All right, get up by the little hand there. All right, coming back down. Oh, you're gonna make the floss guide. It's just so fun to have around. It's good reference. So maybe one of these days we'll do an embroidery and on purpose really think about the thickness of things and see if maybe we'll do that with the next embroidery of the month. That might be kind of fun. Oh, I did see those, Gretchen. Oh gosh, whose are those? I forget now. Someone here is doing all of these embroideries all together into quilt blocks, and they're so cute. They're looking just adorable. So those are over in the Penguin and Fish Crafters group if you want to check those out. Oh, shoot. Lost my thread here. Let's try that again. Be easier if I trimmed this, but I'm going to try and do it without trimming. Did we get all the strands? Nope, we missed one. I'm going to trim this. Sometimes when I don't have a lot of thread left on the needle, like what we have now, I mean, I don't have a ton here. Sometimes I'll pull too hard because I'm thinking I have more thread, but I don't. And then I lose my needle. I really love these weeks that we do the embroidery of the month, though. Like this week, it's just relaxing to have a project like this that we can finish so quickly. I mean, this one's small, so this one will finish extra quickly. But like just these, I mean, if I stitched this differently, like if I could, fill him in. Oh, that would be actually kind of fun to do sometime. We could like thread paint him. So we could do like different variety of browns and fill in this whole space. Then it would take a little time. But when we're just doing these outlines, they're a pretty quick project, and pairing them with some big, quilting projects, it's just kind of extra relaxing to just have a quick finish in between the big projects. Oh, Gracie, I'm glad you like it. Hope everything's going okay at work. Oh, yes. So Gretchen says, I love your tip above the tinier stitches around the corners. We could talk about that really quick. So what Gretchen's referring to is like if I needed to stitch something like an oval or something, for the stitch length, I might do bigger stitches on like this kind of straightaway area. But as I get to this tight curve, I might get smaller stitches because stitches are straight, right? Every stitch you make is going to be straight. So how do you get a curve? And how I do that is just making smaller stitches around the curve. Because if I did the same size stitches, if this is my oval, and I did the same size stitches, we're going to end up with something that's kind of pointy. Like it's kind of, you can see all the points here. But if we get them a little smaller here, then we can go bigger again on the straightaways, but a little smaller, you'll get more of that curved feeling. So here you can really see that curve, and here it's just a bit more choppy. And even if you get smaller, you might end up with just like a point. Then you're just got like this like super pointy thing. Whereas if we just make a few more smaller stitches, then you're going to get that curved shape a little bit better. So I don't really stay consistent with my stitch length. I mean, in general, I am, they're Kathleen's blocks that she's making. Those super cute blocks with all of these. But yeah, so, I mean, right now I have basically a straightaway. I mean, I don't have any really tight curves. Actually, I don't have really any tight curves at all on this block. Oh, maybe around the eyes there. Those eye masks. I probably made those just a tiny bit smaller. But yeah, this one doesn't have so many tight curves on it. So my stitches are probably pretty more consistent than usual. But yeah, a lot of times on these straight parts, I'll get a little longer with my stitches just because, I don't know, they get done faster. But yeah, just to get that curve, I want to mimic that curve. I will reduce the size of the stitches a bit. All right, I think I can only get one more stitch out of here, so I'm going to go right up to the point of this foot here. I think just like that, and I'm going to weave in the ends here. Let's just weave in the backs of all these little black stitches here. Oh, you're using a 4-inch hoop and it feels easier. Oh, that's cool. Yep, this is a 4-inch hoop. I do like this size for little itty bitty guys like this. And it's just cute. It feels like a really good travel project then too. Not that anyone's traveling right now, but a really good, stick in the drawer somewhere project that you can just pull out and work on whenever. All right, so I have the other 3 strands of floss that we had from earlier. I'm just going to use that as is. You could separate them again and then put them back together again, and then in theory they lay flatter. This has still got a little twist to it, but meh, that sounds like too much work. All right, let's start up here, get all these stitches on the way down, get these couple extra stitches here, and then we'll start wrapping around here and then getting some of these guys and all the way to there. All right. Weave in the backs of the stitches again. So I'm not doing those knots. I'm not tying any knots here. Just pulling the thread to about there. So if you only go back and forth twice like this, if you keep pulling, you'll still be able to pull it out. Like if I pull on this a little bit, you can see my thread sliding. That's no good. I want to go that third squiggle in here, weaving in the ends. That's going to lock it in place. So now if I pull here, like it's not going anywhere. So it's that 3. I always go 3. There you go. You travel. This travels from room to room easily. You can probably just toss this in a pocket, really. Oh, this would be good. This would be a horrible idea, but maybe not. This would be a good cooking in the kitchen all day project. You just stick it in your pocket or your apron pocket, stir whatever you're stirring a little bit more, or check on the thing, and it's like, oh, guess I gotta wait 5 more minutes for the whatever. And then you pull this guy out again and stitch a little bit more. You could stitch him onto a tea towel or something. Although, if you're doing something with sauce or your hands are all messy, embroidery, probably not the best idea. I like that idea, though. I've never done that. Worked on some big cooking project, and then while I waited for little parts, that doesn't happen, right? When you're waiting for stuff, you work on some other part of the recipe or whatever. But I like the idea of sitting in the kitchen and cooking and sneaking a stitch here and there. That'd be fun. All right, so I'm just getting the little furries in here. So you might have noticed, let me show you. Let's finish this last one. Well, let's do this last stitch here too. I left this stitch way over here. And the reason I did that is because I want to cover up the ends of these stitches, because this leg this leg is behind this part of the body here, right? So this leg should be in front of this leg. So I want to actually make it physically in front of it. So I left this stitch here, and now after stitching this, I'm going to go back and I'm going to put little stitches over the top. So that's just what I did here. I wanted the brown to feel like it was in front of the black, and I put a stitch right over that area where it connects to the line, just to like give it a nice clean edge, basically. So I'm doing the same here. So I'm not going to go in the exact same hole. Like, I'm not going to go right there. I'm going to go a little further over so I get that covering up feel to it. There we go, just like that. And I'm going to try and do that with this other leg too. I think we'll just do a big stitch. All right. I'm doing, like, these are kind of big stitches. I could have gone with 3 stitches here instead of the 2, but I think we're balancing it out. So that's actually something, every time I approach kind of a point, like at this point, I'm thinking to myself, would this be better as 2 stitches to the end or 3 stitches? So I'm mentally kind of dividing up this space. Once I get kind of close to an end, when I'm in the middle, I just kind of stitch. But once I get about this far away, I'm like, okay, is this 2 stitches away or 3? And I think to myself, okay, if this is 2 stitches, the halfway point's about there. Maybe those are a little bit big compared to all my other stitches. So maybe I'll do the 3. So every time I approach a line or a point like that, or a change of direction, let's call it that, I'm kind of assessing, should I do the 3 stitches, 2 stitches? How many stitches fit here? So I think the 3 worked out pretty well. All right, let's grab a few of these little leg stitches while we're here, and then jump back up to the top of the foot there. Oh, I'm getting a little far down here. Let's head back up. You can just choose however you want. I mean, I could just keep going and stitch these, but I am trying to do like that sweeping motion of getting everything on the path. With a backstitch, that works well because you can start and stop a backstitch at any point. But like if you were doing a chain stitch or something, that'd be hard to start and stop and work on different parts. You would want to do like the whole full line of the chain stitch. Just because it doesn't stop and start as simply as the back stitch here. Yeah, this is a pretty golden brown. we're going to run out of this thread pretty quick as well. We're definitely going to have to cut more. So that one little bit of thread or floss was definitely not enough. Like, can we not get toilet paper still? We had a it was kind of funny. We actually had quite a bit of, not a ton, but we're only 2 people, but we had quite a bit of toilet paper before all this started. So John had just gone, this was like in maybe February or something, but John had gone to Costco for the first time, and he had gotten a bunch of toilet paper at that point. Again, this is before any of the craziness started. And about that same time, I had bought a bunch of, we just ran out, so I bought a bunch of toilet paper for the warehouse. So between his Costco run and what I had from the warehouse, we are good to go still. We've peaked, so every time, we've only gone to the grocery store once in all of this, but we've checked when we get the groceries online and stuff. We've been looking around, and I haven't really seen it anywhere yet, but we haven't been actively looking either. We've been keeping our eyes out for the Clorox wipes. Those have been a bit difficult. We haven't found those at all again. Oh, you went to Costco before this hit? Yeah, it was pretty random. So we got a giant bag of rice from there, and we're about halfway through this big old bag of rice since we've been home, and toilet paper. We're gonna have to start thinking about that at some point, but it's not dire yet. I wouldn't mind a little bit more being in the closet there, but again, it's not totally dire. But it is just John and me, so man, if I had a whole family, that would be pretty stressful. Ooh, your store was fully stocked. Well, that's good to know. You went to Sam's Club before and we're good to go. Yeah, I mean, we are pretty grateful that we happen to have done that beforehand. Oh, I saw that too. A way to make Clorox wipes out of half of a paper towel roll, cutting in half. Yeah, I saw that too. Hopefully that won't get that dire either. We did get some spray bottles though, and we have bleach water in the spray bottles, so we do spray down the warehouse when we get there, and around here and stuff when we're doing a deep clean. All right, we are almost out again. Let's pick up our backstitch line. I'd like to see if I can get a little further up here. It's hard to weave in the ends when it's so close to the hoop. These little baby hoops are a bit easier to hold too, I think, and I like stitching with my left hand, kind of feeling the stitches as I go. And so it's less for my fingers to reach to. Oh, that's what you do too. You get spray bottles with bleach water. Yeah, we've been spraying down, we have plastic bins that we store things in, and we've been spraying those, all that. Oh, yes. Anna, it's for Penguin and Fish. So that's my company. Yep, we sell embroidery patterns. We have them they're in Target and Joann's, so that's why the warehouse, we need to store a lot of stuff and work on stuff there, and we make all the kits there at the warehouse. Yeah, and it's pretty close to the house, so we've just been basically, it's 10 minutes from our house. So we've been basically just the house, the car, warehouse. That's our, and it's just been by us, I mean, my husband and me. So we've just had our little back and forth. We are non-essential, so we don't have workers there. So it's just John and me. Oh, and we do have our stuff on Amazon as well. So if you're getting it from Amazon, unless it's a third-party seller that's not us, that doesn't say Penguin and Fish, it ultimately comes from us. Amazon's been a little goofy. Like we send our stuff to them and they ship it for us sometimes. So if it doesn't have like our Penguin and Fish sticker on it, like our tape, then it came from Amazon, which ultimately also comes from us. But Amazon ships it for us. But they have, I guess I don't need too much. We only have this little bit left. They have not allowed vendors to send them items to send to you guys. That's nice, Kathy. So if you've been ordering from Amazon, they are coming from my warehouse directly from my husband and me as of late. We've been getting a lot of Amazon orders lately because everyone's at home crafting, which is amazing. But usually they used to come from Amazon. And now they're coming, from us to Amazon and then Amazon to you. And now they're going from us to you. Because Amazon is only accepting items from vendors that sell essential things, like soap or toilet paper. I think they are accepting a few items from non-essential people like me. So soon orders might come from Amazon again, which means a hair faster shipping. We do try and ship everything same day or next day, but Amazon can be a little faster than that. All right, I'm going to weave in the ends here. Get started again. Ugh, see, I'm too close to the edge here. It's a little harder. A little harder to weave in the end. That longer end that I left there, I'll clip that off before I get going. Oop, or not. I just pulled it in a little bit farther. That's why I needed to do the 3 squiggles. But yeah, we store and ship and make everything from our warehouse. Just could not do it at home anymore, basically. I like all these little furry hairs. Oh, that's interesting, Dee Dee. So Dee Dee says, I make wipes with the paper towels and then with essential oils in it. Ooh, that sounds nice. Oh, I make it look so easy to pull the thread apart. Oh, I kind of just did that real quick here, didn't I? I forgot that I started a new piece of thread here. So the trick is only pull out 1 strand at a time. If you attempt to pull out any more than that, then you will get some crazy knots and it will not be pleasant. It's just the 1 strand and just pull it out and let it all bunch up behind you. And it should just all kind of release. So you can give it a try and see how it works. Oh, that's nice, Kathy. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's just nice if you're buying other stuff on Amazon, then, it's easier to probably add to that order versus going to a whole nother website. think I'll get a couple stitches in here and get some of these furs. I suppose I could go all the way around and then get the furs. Let's do that. I'm gonna just keep going here. Yay, we're totally gonna finish his little body today. That makes me happy. That's nice, Anna. Let me know if it's Anna or Anna. So I say it right. Oh, the no touch pay at your grocery store. Ooh, I don't know what that is. Is that like the Whole Foods where you just kind of walk in, walk out? I haven't actually experienced that. I think that's probably only limited cities where they do that, where you can just walk in and walk out. We've done, we went to the grocery store once when this all started, and that was just creepy. I don't want to do that again. And then we got delivery a couple weeks ago, and that worked so amazing. And like, I'm going to continue to do that, you know, after this is all done, because that was slick. Okay. I'm still not sure if it's Anna or Anna. Like, not the AH way, like, nah, just like so like Anna. Oh, you get the app. Oh, and then they scan it. Oh, that's neat. Yeah, so our next delivery comes Thursday. So we'll be picking up our next thing. And then we've been bleaching it. I mean, oh, God. So we bring it in the back door, and then we've been kind of wiping it all off. We get the sink with the bleach water going and open up what we can and put it in a different bag and, you know, let the things sit that can sit, or the ones that we don't want to eat right away. And it's such a hassle, but it makes us feel a little bit better, I guess. But dang, delivery, pretty dang slick. Or not delivery. I keep saying delivery, but pickup. That's what we've been doing, is picking it up. So we just go to the pickup line outside in our car, and then you know, the website, or I think we can tell them that we're here. I don't quite remember how that works. But then they just bring it out. We pop the trunk and they put it in there, and it's awesome. And they're hiring people to do that, so it's just kind of nice. Oh, you take some whites with you through the store. Yeah, that's a good idea. Wipe as you get it. Oh, yep. So now it's just kind of creepy going in there. I don't want to go in there, but they have like the big, like, acrylic, I don't know, sneeze guards, I guess is what you'd call it, on the by the checkout area, and they spray it down after each person. So, I mean, they're doing a good job, but they don't have I mean, maybe they have masks now. Like I said, it was like a couple weeks ago that we went there. But it was just all these teenagers working and without masks, and we were some of the only people there with masks. But it was pretty barren in there. Not a lot of people, not a ton of stuff on the shelves. Just all in all, just not a pleasant experience. And then you have, you know, we're trying to not touch anything. I probably talked about this, but it still irks me. We're trying not to touch anything unless we're just grabbing it and putting it in the cart. We have our masks on. We're staying, 6 feet away from people. There's already not a lot of people there. And then you have someone in the ice cream with the door open and touching like every single ice cream there, like no mask, and just like literally can't make a decision on all the like 50, 100 ice creams that are there, and literally having to touch every single one and looking at it. We're just like, oh my God, but we were there for ice cream. We needed our ice cream. So we waited. She was there forever. And, you know, we can't just kind of like approach as if like, oh, we're getting stuff too, because we're trying to stay 6 feet apart. She was clueless that there were people waiting for her and just touching every ice cream. It's just... all right, you guys. Well, that was quick. Went through that. I think we have time to start on the leafy bits here, I think. Yeah, why don't we do that? We'll start the leaves. I don't think we'll get all that far. And then we'll see that. Oh, Barbara, we find out in a day or two if the... Oh, did you get tested? Are you feeling okay? Wow. Yeah, I hope no as well, or I hope, I don't know, I hope whatever. It's hard to know, like, what you want and what you don't want. You know, some people say that there is an immunity to it if you do have it after, you know, it's gone, and then you know, but then there's reports that that's not actually proven. It's just all so stressful, so... But knowing... Oh, not you, it's your friend's husband. Ugh, just knowing is, I would think that would have some sort of power to it. Knowing. Crazy. Yes, exactly, Nolene. Same with the fruit. Like, let's touch every single thing that's here. People. So that's why, like, you know, we're, like, wiping everything down with bleach water when we get back. John's, like... super scrubbing all the fruits and vegetables, and man, it's an event for sure. Oh, Joe, that's awesome. Some soft elastic that feels fine around the ears. Oh, that's cool. What kind is it? It's just so hard to find. You know, I was gonna make some of those this weekend and didn't get a chance to do it. But, oh, my brother, I think I mentioned this, my brother who is making masks, is sending me 100 masks in the mail. So he already donated like 200 of them. And now he has 100 that he's sending me, and we are going to put them up on our website at some point. So if anyone here, I don't know quite what price we're going to do for them yet, but we will be selling them, but so I'll send an email newsletter about, but if any of you guys want any reserved, just feel free to email me. Again, I don't quite know what price we're doing or whatever for them yet, but all the money is going to go to help him because he was laid off because of all this COVID stuff, and he's already donated, you know, 200, and so now we're helping him out however we can, if we're able to sell a few. So those should be in the mail. We should be getting those soon. And his fabric that he used is really pretty cool. We sent him more fabric. So he's making them more. All right. So I'm going to do a chain stitch here. So I came up at the base of the chain stitch. It's actually like a single chain stitch. Sometimes, you know, it's a lazy daisy stitch. Lazy daisy stitch is just basically a single chain stitch or several of them around a point. And so we kind of have like two here. I am going to just go back in the same hole. I kind of made this loop here. And I'm going to come up without pulling the thread very far. I'm going to come up at like the apex of that arc. But I'm within the loop here. So then as I pull, you know, the loop's getting smaller and smaller, and my thread is actually going to catch that loop. And I'm going to leave it nice and loose. You want it, I like this phrase. You want it to be lazy. You don't want it to be really tight. So like if I keep pulling on this, it can get really tight. And that's like the general, I think, instinct is the word. The instinct is just to pull all your stitches nice and tight, but it makes it almost look like one big stitch. So if you leave it, I'm going to just make it a little looser here. If you leave it looser, like you don't pull it really tight, then you get that nice kind of teardrop shape. And it can be a little loose. You don't need it like a super duper tight pulled thing. This is totally fine. But I need to make one more stitch, because if I don't, then I don't know where to put this thread, and this will be like loose like this. So the last stitch is just a little anchor stitch. I'm just going right on the other side. Just like the French knots, I'm going in a different hole. I'm not going in the same hole. I'm about a couple threads away, a couple fabric threads away, and we're just making like basically the tiniest little stitch. There, just like that, and it holds down our little leaf. And that's all there is to it. So now this one goes behind the leg, so it's not really a lazy daisy stitch. I'm going to just kind of fake it. So we're going to do, this side of the stitch and the other side as if it's a lazy daisy stitch, but it's not. It's just basically two little, I don't know, short stitches. There, like that. And I think this part will still kind of make like a lazy daisy stitch, just so it looks the same, but it'll just be like a tiny, tiny little baby one. So I'm going to go up in this space, and instead of going in the exact same spot, I'm going to go on the other side of my shape there. So it's kind of like an open bottom single chain stitch. And now I'm going to go up at that peak of that tiny little shape. And I'm in the center of that loop again. And we're going to catch it right there like that. And then we'll tack it down with that little anchor stitch. And there we go. Oh, that looks good to see it. So now it looks as if we've done a lazy daisy stitch behind there, but it's just like an optical illusion though. We just did this little stitch and then like two just little straight stitches there. So I think that's just kind of a fun way of doing that. All right, I think we'll just keep hopping to the next stitches, and then we'll do like till the next lazy daisy stitches, and then when we're all done, I think we'll come straight down our line here with stitches. That will also do that nice thing where we're covering up where the edges meet, where the points meet, kind of like how we did here and here and here. We're just going to cover up all these points with a little stitch. I think that'll look nice. So for now, we're going to just keep crawling up the edge here. All right, so this is that one where, well, this first stitch will be fine, but the other side is the foot that's supposed to be in front of the stitches, so that's going to be a little tricky too, so let's handle that one. Oops, I didn't get in the middle of the loop there, so I caught it. There we go. A nice kind of loosey, lazy stitch. Get that anchor stitch in. All right, so now here is where that foot's supposed to be in front. So ideally I would have stitched the foot after these green pieces, but I didn't. So I'm going to just bring my thread underneath these feet, just so it's at least on the right side. All right, and then I kind of come back underneath the feet. All right, and then go into my original hole here. All right, and then I'm gonna come up. Oh, it looks like it was kind of behind this hand too, this arm. I'm just gonna make it right before the arm. So it looks, I'll show you the picture for a sec here, but yeah, I don't know, do I like that? I'm not sure I like that. So here's the dilemma. So I was gonna do a little stitch here. Maybe I do like that. I'm gonna just leave it, but I'll show you the difference in a sec here. So I'm just tacking this down So I just have kind of like a little baby leaf right there. But what it looks like in the design, if I'm going over here again, so it was actually, this part was kind of behind too. So I could have done a fake, like not a lazy daisy stitch here. I could have just done like a back stitch on this side and this side, or just like one big long stitch really, gone from here to there, and then maybe like a little stitch and then there to there. And that would have given me the impression of a bigger stitch, just kind of like how we did here, how we faked it with just a couple little stitches, and then up at the top we could have just done some bigger stitches and it would appear like it was still behind that. And we'll do that same thing up here. So here for sure we'll just, we'll do like one big long stitch and one big long stitch, so it looks like it's behind his paw there. But I just finished the Lazy Daisy-esque, the single chain stitch there, and I think it's fine. It just looks like a little smaller leaf, but I think it's pretty cute still. But there, now it looks like that is behind his foot there. We'll do a couple more, and I think we'll call it a night real soon here. Let's get a little higher. All right, another way you can do a chain stitch is to go in and out in the same movement. It actually works great for a chain stitch to do that. It's a little bit more difficult when it's in the hoop just because the fabric's tighter, but you can go in and out in the same motion. So in at the same hole that I pulled the thread out, and then out there, and then you can actually take the thread at this point and tuck it behind the needle right away. Then you don't have like all this flying thread going everywhere. So that can actually be nice not to have to deal with that. So there we are. Get that extra little stitch in there. All right, you guys, I think we will call it a night right there. So tomorrow